Hello and welcome to the Craft Beer Corner. For today's beer review, we're jumping into an IPA from Tombstone Brewing Company. They're based in Phoenix, Arizona. I might have done one review on one beer from them, but it's definitely been a long time. So this is the first of three different beers that they're doing, stepping up, so IPA, then double, then triple. That at least nomenclature-wise are all related. So they're naming them after thirds of the famous Konami code. If you're into video games and you're anywhere near my generation, you know this intimately well. So this first standard is a Hazy IPA. It's called Up Up Down Down. This one clocks in at 7.6% ABV. And thankfully, they do give us the hop bill on here. This one is Citra and Mosaic. I'm just going to double check. Yep, Citra and Mosaic. So nice hazy, 7.6. That's already a little on the high end of average for the Goldilocks zone for a standard IPA. But it'll be interesting to see if they're just kind of rolling with this kitschy naming convention on these, or if indeed they do have some common threads. So we're going to start with the first one, the lowest of the rung, and work our way up over the next several reviews that we do with these IPAs, but pretty cool concept. On the front, it's just got the name, though. It is worth noting it's kind of pixelated, like an old school video game. Though to be fair, this clearly is 16-bit. There's no resolution that fine on an 8-bit system. So yeah, they stepped up their game. It's this nice dual shade of green. I really like it. Very cool art. I'm a big fan. So let's get this cracked. We're using our nice all-purpose glass here today. Works well for most beer styles and particularly well, in my opinion, for IPAs. So start this out gently. And then we'll just give a nice little bit of aggression down the middle. Give this a chance to let its head do its thing. It's looking nice. Probably could have been a bit more aggressive, but that's okay. We still got plenty of carbonation making its way up. All right. I think I just about got that in there. I can tell you big aromas coming off of this. About a foot away from the edge of that glass, but just as it's coming off, having been freshly poured, really nice pungent aroma. Visually, yeah, absolutely that's hazy. And this is that textbook bright, true golden yellow color I think of in my head when I think of an IPA. Absolutely lovely, exactly as described. In terms of carbonation, it is hazy, so it's a little hard to see. What I can see kind of coming off the cling on the sides of the glass is kind of medium-sized effervescence. So yeah, the head's already settled down a bit. That can sometimes happen. If it's that super fine, that's what really is going to do it poured at home. So really, you almost need it to be pulled from a tap on a properly, carbonated system from a bar. That's why the beer heads are a lot more consistent at a bar. But nonetheless, this did a decent job for at home. Let's get right up over it for a full sniff here. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's got a lot of nice aroma. There's definite citrus, definite kind of melon. There's a kind of this cantaloupe mixed with like grapefruit, orange, lemon, limey kind of vibe coming off of this. Little underlying earthiness, relatively as expected. It's Citra and Mosaic is the two hops. These are all common traits that they have. I'm expecting this potentially, even though it's a hazy, to be a little more bitter forward. That, of course, comes down to the volume and what stage of the boil, but it smells really nice. I'm expecting big flavors here, even if it's not quite as intense on the bitters. It's going to have a nice, big, bold flavor profile to match this nice, bold aroma profile. But it looks great. It smells great. Let's jump right in and see what this one's about. Ah, yeah, that's nice. That's a very nice IPA. Very nice indeed. Yeah, this is giving me pretty much exactly what I expected, and that is just a beautiful thing. I knew what I was getting into because they told me about it before I even jumped in, and it's meeting my expectations, and beautifully so. So the body and the mouthfeel on this, 7.6, kind of getting in the high end of average for a standard IPA, but the body feels exactly right. It's not super duper heavy, but it's got a nice presence to it. It's a big, robust medium, bordering on that edge of starting to, maybe some people will consider that medium heavy, but it's a nice full medium. Mouthfeel, got the exact right amount of resistance as expected for this beer style in this ABV range. In terms of its actual sensory texture, this one gets quite creamy, quite silky when you agitate on the palate. Indeed, it gives this almost thicker than it actually is quality to it. But it's got a nice resistance, a nice mouthfeel that really matches perfectly this really nice, robust, big, medium, bordering on medium heavy, kind of in that range. Body, texturally, it's spot on. In terms of the flavor profile, it's a mix of citra and mosaic. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect to get. So there are elements of the aroma profiles off of both of these hops that do make their way into the glass. Yes, there is this citrusy edge. Yes, there is this melon edge to it. So there are flavor suggestions of grapefruit, lemon lime, orange, cantaloupe, even some honeydew, other types of melons. But then there's this nice earthiness to it, and indeed even a little bit of a resinous quality to it. Mosaic in general, it's obviously most well known for its blueberry and berry-like aromas, and indeed some of the flavors it can impart. In this one, it's really not going there. I'm getting a good bit of kind of that earthy, slight resinous dankness off of the mosaic, but the thing that I'm most happy about in this is mosaic, if you use too heavy of a hand, is a hop variety that can get kind of funky. And not necessarily funky in a good way for how most people would like their beer to taste, but they really were clearly quite careful with how they used these hops and the moderation and the volume in the various steps. And yeah, this does still have a nice hoppy kick to it. It's not a big, bold, in-your-face West Coast style insanity of IBUs or anything like that. And certainly as a hazy, it's prototypically not supposed to be. But it's nice, yeah, there's bitters, and it'll let you know, hey, we use these 2 high alpha acid content hops in this beer. But it's absolutely delicious. It delivered exactly what I expected, and it's just crafted beautifully. So I'm gonna jump back in for a second sip, let everything re-intensify, see if I pick anything else out. I didn't really get any blueberry vibes on the flavor the first time, certainly didn't pick it up on the aroma, but I'll take one more sniff and then I'll be paying keen attention to see, but I don't think so. Yeah, not on the aroma, so we're gonna take 2. Very citrus up front. Yeah, still no blueberry. Citrus, we got grapefruit, orange, lemon, lime. It's all in there. There's absolutely cantaloupe. There's absolutely honeydew. Nice earthiness, a little bit of a resinous quality to it. It's exactly what you expect for these hops. It's really, really well done. Nice kick of bitters, but not too intense. If I were just to guess, I'd say we're looking in the 25 to maybe 35, 40-ish IBUs. It's not off the charts. It's enough to give you a nice little kick that, yeah, I'm drinking this nice IPA made with these high alpha acid content hops, but it's not one that's going to scare away people. Like it says on the can, this is a hazy IPA. So it's kind of true to the prototype here. It's got enough bitters, let you know you're drinking an IPA, but it's really all about this big, intense blend of aroma and flavor profile, and I think they nailed it beautifully. In terms of the finish on this, it's not super long. Like I said, it's not overly bitter, but it's, you know, it's probably high end of average range, considering how relatively not extremely bitter forward this beer is. There's actually a decent bit of residuals that rides on the back of the palate, and it's not a bitter intensity, but it's still quite present that it's there. So it's really high end of average, and it's nice. And this is one of those, it's not dry at all on the end. It's big and wet and round all the way to the end of the finish. This is just a well-crafted IPA. With these ingredients that they use, it's exactly what I expected, and this is extremely well crafted and a really good example of what this style is all about. I'm going to take my time, sip on this, come up with my scores. When we come back, we'll get this beer ranked from top to bottom. All right, now that we've gotten to enjoy this beer, we're going to get it ranked. This was Tombstone Brewing Company's Up Up Down Down, a hazy IPA clocking in at 7.6% ABV. Tombstone Brewing is based in Phoenix, Arizona. So this was one of those beers that came close to sweeping all categories. Indeed, there were only 2 categories where it did not obtain a perfect 10 out of 10. The first of those was the finish. So the finish on this was really just high end of average. It was nice, and yes, it did have a nice little kick of bitters, but this was a hazy at its heart, so not a big, bold pungency of bitters to really help drive out the length of the finish. So for the sub-style, really high end of average. The finish gets a 6 out of 10. The second category where it didn't get a perfect score is the head and the retention. This one did okay. Just as with the finish, it was really just high end of average. It formed a pretty nice head at the start. To be fair, I probably could have been a bit more aggressive in the glass as I was pouring it, and that would have helped the cause, but it is what it is. You never really know what you're going to get. High end of average though, head and retention gets a 6 out of 10. Perfect 10s in all the remaining categories. That's aroma, taste, body, mouthfeel, appearance, balance, feeling in the intangible, and example of style, which does bring the total score on Tombstone Brewing Company's up, down to a 92 out of 100. I really enjoyed this IPA. This was a really nice hazy, nice blend of citrus and mosaic. The aromas were right, the flavors are right, the texture, the weight was right. This was just a well done example of a classic IPA kind of recipe here, and they did a great job with it. The first of 3 beers that are a third of the old school Konami code. So next one's going to be a double IPA. The final is a triple. So next one is going to be left, right, if you know the Konami code. Nonetheless, a really great beer. I can't wait to see what these other 2 are about. If you're a fan of IPAs, hazies, don't like super bitter beers, super bitter IPAs, this is one for you certainly. It was very well done. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend this to any fan of IPAs. Folks, that's today's review. As always, I do sincerely appreciate you tuning in today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to stay in the loop when our videos go live, just turn on your notifications, hit that bell icon. It's right next to the subscribe button. Until next time, keep it beer, keep it craft. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.